Okay, so today we are going to spend a couple minutes and talk about R scripts. So now that we have R open, which you can see right here, you can see RStudio, you can see R right here. How do we work with R? How do we get the things that we want, like let's say taking a mean of a bunch of numbers and putting it into R? And the way we do that is by writing R scripts. And R script is simply a text file that has a .r extension. That's it. There's a couple little special things about them, but in general, they're just text files. There's nothing really that special about them. And the way that we create a new R file is we go up to this little plus sign right here. You click on that, and you go and click R script. That will create a new R script. Notice here it popped up on the top left. It's shrunk our R window down here on the bottom left, but R is still there, it's still working, and if you want, you can resize the windows to whatever way that you want. You notice here on the left there's a number 1. That is the line number. These things don't show up in your file itself, but it basically tells you where you are. So it's easy to count, okay, I'm working on line 16, I want to go back to line 14, or something like that. And so the beginning of any good R script is a title. The title of our R script is My First R Script. Great. So we've typed it in, it's there. Now, there's a special thing we have to do though, because this is a sentence. This isn't something that we want to run in R. This isn't like taking a mean or taking a standard deviation or counting the length of something or something like that. And so it's something we don't want R to read. If we go ahead and try to run this in R, so what we can do is see here it says run, and so this will put anything in the line that our cursor's at, so here we're at line 1, it will move it into the R environment. So if we run it, oh, of course, my first R script tries to run and there's an error, an unexpected symbol in my first. So R has no idea what to do with this because it's a sentence, right? And so what we do is anytime we're writing plain English, or we're writing some sort of words that can be read by a human, but not necessarily read by a computer, we put a number symbol. And we call that a comment. And so anytime you're writing any sentences, you're writing any answers to questions, you're writing any results of your statistical analyses, you always make sure that you have the number symbol. You can think of it as a hashtag if you want. And so as long as there's a bunch of these, we can write anything we want, and if we run, nothing happens. You can still see that there's the text here, but R hasn't done anything with it. It just prints it back out. You might notice that when I provide you R scripts, that there's going to be lines that have 2 number symbols, and some lines only have 1, and some ones that have a lot of number symbols. I basically use them as a way to organize my R scripts. And so at the beginning of a big chunk of code, and something that has my comments or has something else in it, I want to start off with 2. This is my personal preference. You can do whatever you want, but you always have to make sure to have at least 1. And so if you see those, don't think that they mean anything special. It's just a way of organizing my thoughts. And so in this top box here of number symbols, of comments, we can write a short description of what this R script is. And so this is a short script to test out, do another line, R for the first time. You can write out into infinity on any single line, but it's not a good idea because it makes your script really messy and hard to read. One thing about R scripts is that it's something that you should be able to read and understand. It's something that R should be able to read and understand. And also it's something that someone in the future, let's say you share this R script with someone, if they're asking you how to take a mean or something like that, they can read as well. And so a good rule of thumb is to only type out around 80 symbols. And so that includes the number symbols, that includes spaces, that includes letters, and includes numbers. And so just make it a nice compact square or rectangle, and it's going to be a whole lot easier to read. Okay, so that's done. So we have our descriptive, albeit maybe not so interesting, title here and description. So now let's write some R code. And so the first thing we want to do is add some data. And I like to do this every time I install R. I make two vectors. These are made-up numbers, and I use the symbols X and Y, which you might be familiar with, and we're going to work with quite a lot through this semester. And so let's say X and X equals, and here you can use the equal sign if you want, but I suggest you don't, because there's some important aspects of equal in R and how R deals with equal that may be a little more complicated. So instead, I suggest drawing an arrow. And so you do the less than symbol and a minus sign. And as you can see, it looks like an arrow. And so let's say we want a vector of 5 numbers. And that vector needs to be encapsulated in a function called concatenate. And concatenate means just put together. So concatenate, the function for concatenate in R is C. So the letter C, and then we encapsulate our numbers in parentheses, and our numbers are going to be arbitrary. So let's say 5, 3, 6, 4, and 6 again. And there's X, there's our vector X. We can do the same thing for a vector Y. The numbers are going to be 6, 4, 3, 2, and 4. Okay? These are completely arbitrary. They're just vectors that we can work on. So if we want to run these vectors and make sure that they're in R, we put our cursor on the first line. So here it's line 11. It's the line that has our X vector. And then we click Run. And as you can see down here on the left-hand side, you have X, arrow, C, and then all of our numbers. And so it has been inputted into R. We can double check that that worked by looking over here on the right, and you see this tab called Environment, and this is where all of our vectors, all of our analyses, everything lives. And you can see that there is a value of X, and it's a number, which is good. So num equals number. And it's 5, 3, 6, 4, and 6. If you look over here, that matches. And so it's in. Another way of doing that is to simply type X into your script and run that. And lo and behold, it provides you with the vector. So 5, 3, 6, 4, and 6. You could do the same thing with Y. You see here, Y popped up. And if we type Y and we run it, 6, 4, 3, 2, 4. And that's basically the way that you make an R script. Now you can do pretty much everything you want in the R script and then put it in R. I don't suggest you ever write directly into R. You can do it. So see here, if I type X right into the R console here on the bottom, it will give me the correct answer, 5, 3, 6, 4, 6. But it hasn't been saved. It's in the history for right now, but once you leave RStudio, it's going to be gone forever. And so what you want to do is make sure to save all the work that you've done. Some R scripts may take you only a few minutes to work on, but many will take you at least an hour or 2. And the worst thing that could possibly happen is that you type all that into the R console, and then it disappears. And then you have to make it all over again. And so get used to working in the R script, and then putting it in R afterward. Another thing you can do is you can comment your code to make sure you remember what it is if you look at this script in the next week or in a month or a year or 10 years, and you want to remember what you did. And so here, we can put a comment after the function and say a data vector named x. And this one is a data vector named y. If you run this again, it'll still work because R realizes it needs to start reading at x. And so it'll read x, it'll read the arrow, it'll read the concatenate function and the numbers inside. And then once it hits this comment, it realizes it doesn't need to read anymore. And so it'll stop reading. And this is a great thing to do anytime you write a script and anytime you write a R function, you need to comment it so you know, or in better words, you need to annotate it with a comment to make sure that you remember what it is. And if you share this with someone, they'll also know what you're talking about. And then now that we have our script, this one's really simple, we need to save it because maybe we want to come back and use this later. And so what we do is we go to here where you see the floppy disk symbol, and it says save current document. And so you click save, and since it's a brand new document, we need to give it a name and we need to put it somewhere. And so here it's untitled.r. Obviously we don't want to keep it that, and so we're going to call it first script.r. I highly suggest you don't use spaces between the words in your name. Instead, use either a dash or a underscore. And then save it. I'm going to save mine on my desktop. I highly suggest you save all of your scripts in one folder to make sure that you're organized and you don't lose them. Save. And there you go. And if you notice, this was red and has a star next to it. Now it's black and has no star next to it. That means it's been saved. If you write something new, let's say we want to take the average of x, so mean of x, it turns red again with that star, and so that means it's unsaved. So before you quit out, make sure you save everything and make sure that everything you've worked on is saved, because the last thing you want to do is work for hours on these things and have it disappear on you. So I'm going to save it again. This time it didn't give me a prompt, it just saved it automatically, and you're good to go. And if you're curious, if we run mean, it does give us the average of x, and it's 4.8. Basically meaningless because it's random, arbitrary numbers, but that's the way to do it. And let's say, okay, I want to keep that, and I want to comment it. This is the average of x, which is 4.8, or something like that. We save it again, and we're good to go. Now, another cool thing is that RStudio recognizes R scripts. And so if you click on R script in your file, on your desktop, wherever it is, RStudio will automatically open it. And so I'm going to exit out of RStudio. One thing to note, RStudio will ask you when you quit your R session that if you want to save your workspace image to .r data or something like that, it will say something similar in the Windows. Always say don't save. As long as you've already saved your R script, this is not the R script, but if you've saved your R script, you're good to go. And so simply press don't save. And then it exits out. So if we go to the desktop, you see firstscript.r. And what you can do is you can either double click on it, but on my computer, I have it saved for a different thing. So I go to open with, and I can open it with RStudio right here. RStudio will open up. And there it is. And it will get me going on working on my R script. You can also open R scripts by pressing this button here, open existing file, and finding it. And so here, first script R, and it's already open, so we're good to go. And that is basically how to write, work with, and save R scripts.